It's Parallel Frequencies. I am Just Blane, and there's Coco over there. Coco, this is our first Feature Friday. I'm excited.
Yes. Yeah. Was it a mystery, or did we talk about the movie we're going to be talking about enough beforehand that it's no mystery to anybody?
I don't think it's a mystery because I got super hyped up and we talked about the movie on here. I even said that we were going to have the director himself come join us, so I think people probably already know. But if you don't, then we've got our first big guest right here for our Feature Friday, James Ward Byrkit, the director of Coherence. He's done a lot of other projects also. I think he did Rango. I think that's what...
Rango? Yeah, my kids love that movie.
Yeah, I think that's... if I'm telling people that we interviewed James Ward Byrkit, the director from Coherence, they're like, who? And that's okay. But then I say, oh, he did Rango. And they're like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, we watched that as a family.
Yeah, well, that's okay because I ran into a couple of movie buffs in the coffee shop before this interview, and just some people having a conversation nearby me about movies and stuff. And I said, hey, let me ask you guys a question. Have you heard of the movie Coherence? And they were like, it's on my list. It's on my list to watch. So for some people, it's absolutely something they would recognize if you said it. Where other people haven't discovered it yet, like I was. I'm so glad you turned me onto it and said, you got to go watch this movie and get ready for this. And I was so inspired. I actually painted a painting of it.
Let's see this.
After I watched it. So here's my painting. Oh, wait, hold on. That's backwards. Let me do that. Okay. There. Okay.
That's the same thing.
It's black.
Oh, I get it.
It's the darkness in my soul that came up from this movie. Just inspired me so much.
I love that. Or it's the darkness that was the in-between places of the houses that they were running. I don't want to talk too much about the movie because this conversation we have with Jim, we found out, he goes by Jim Ward Byrkit now, or just Jim Byrkit. Shatterbelt is another underrated project of his that we did not mention to him because we did just talk about Coherence, and we're about to hear that interview. But Shatterbelt, you got to check that thing out. I think it's on Tubi, and it's a TV series that he did, sci-fi, same type of feel, but it's real under the radar. Nobody really knew about it. I love when people find movies like this or TV shows like this that he has or anybody else like him has done. There's a bunch of other people out there too. Justin Benson, Aaron Moorhead, they do some crazy movies that are mind benders. Maria Allred does a mind bender with The Texture of Falling, and I enjoy all of these types of movies. There's another one, Primer. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. That's a mind bender. Tons of them. That's probably my favorite type of movie. Make me bend my brain a little bit while I'm watching it. Keep me off of this or punish me for using this while I watch your movie because I want that experience, So, yeah, that's what Coherence did. Jim, his experience, thank you for that once again. Courtney, what else you got to say about this movie before we jump to this interview? Incredible interview we got with him.
I thought about this movie and I watched this movie and I watched it again and I thought about it some more. This is one of those that you don't just watch once. You are excited actually to watch it again. So I can't wait for you guys to hear our interview with this director, Jim. It was an incredible honor to get to talk to him. We had a lot of fun.
Let's go take a look right here and we'll catch you guys on the other side. Thank you. All right, we've got James Ward Byrkit. He is here, the director of Coherence. It's crazy how this whole thing came together. I thought I was in an alternate reality when it was coming together, honestly, and thought I was in a living in Coherence, at the time. But this movie has always spoke to me for some reason, and I think it was the fact that you kind of watch it and you realize there's a version of yourself that made the right call, and they probably exist somewhere else. To me, that was terrifying completely terrifying, you know?
Terrifying or comforting? I mean, you could see it both ways.
Right, but you had these actors, these incredible actors, and how did you get to build the trust with them before filming anything to get this group dynamic already fractured? You know, how did that happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if there's viewers that don't know, we didn't have a script, and this is an improv movie done over 5 nights. And I knew all the actors, so I chose people that I thought would, you know, go along with it and that they would get along with each other. They didn't really know each other before they came to my house. I think only 2 of them had met before. So that was just kind of my own instinct for picking personalities and kind of saying who's probably going to be okay with this and who's easy to get along with. But yeah, the trust is, that didn't come for a day or two because, I mean, they trusted me as a friend, but the process was pretty scary for some of them, especially some of them had never done improv ever.
Ow.
Yeah, so they had to realize after a day or two that there was a story that was planned for them, that they didn't have to like generate the story. And I think after the second night, they really started to enjoy it and trust that all of the structure and the plot had been figured out for them, so they could just relax and be on for the ride, you know?
Wow. What little acting and improv that I have done, it's making me sweat thinking about what they were going through.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think they had to realize that there's nothing they could do that was wrong. That's the key. And I had to just keep telling them, like, no, that's fine. Like, if you need to go to the bathroom, if you need to go, you know, switch your chair, if you need to interrupt somebody, if you need to ask somebody again, like, what are you talking about? Like, all that's okay. Because I'm going to edit out anything I don't like, you know? So they had to realize there wasn't any pressure on them.
Okay, yeah.
And then it all worked out a lot better. Because when they first arrived, they just felt the pressure. Like, oh, my God, we're improvising a movie. It's got to be amazing. I've got to be a writer. But I had to allow them to see, like, nope, you don't have to do any of that. I got it all.
Well, you really saw the dynamic of the characters play out during this. But I specifically, my impression of it watching just the dinner scene in the beginning, and I don't know if this is just me. I'm a little bit of a Beth, so I'm like an empath, like feeling the energies here.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, I'm uncomfortable at this dinner party. Even in the beginning, I was like, clearly these guys are friends and they know each other. But if I was there, I would sense there was sort of that tension and hostility still in there, and the awkwardness. And when Mike was making certain comments, right. Was that intentional, or is that just me? Is that just...
to be honest, that's all the editor. I had the best editor in the world, Lance Pereira, who came in and modulated the dinner to feel a certain way for the movie. The actual dinner that they had was a riot, and they're constantly trying to make each other laugh. And so in the editing, we're like removing all of that. And removing anything that's too relaxed and too funny, and just trying to get to that tension that you're feeling.
Wow, fascinating.
Is that because they didn't know? Did they not know if this was a comedy, a drama, a horror movie? They didn't know any of that.
They had no idea.
So now it does totally make sense, some of the comments and stuff that are made when they're kind of trying to make jokes and stuff. And watching at home, you're like, that kind of falls flat. You know, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like Coco said, like it's high tension the entire time, really.
Yeah.
What about behind the scenes? Like, Coherence is famous for its limitations. Budget, time, locations, rules you couldn't break, really. Sometimes the tightest walls create the biggest rooms, though. In filmmaking, other than the budget, what creative restriction ended up giving you the most freedom overall?
Well, getting rid of the script and getting rid of the crew. I love scripts and I love crews, but I had this idea for years, like, what would happen if I like got rid of these things that are really slowing me down, you know, like, because when you're on a movie, you're mostly you're mostly waiting around. You're waiting for lights to be moved, or you're waiting for actors to come out of their trailer. You're just waiting. You're not really filmmaking. It's mostly waiting. And I thought, what if I got rid of everything that slows me down? So I was just shooting the whole time. What if it was just like me and a camera, and I had another camera operator, a great cinematographer, Nick Sadler. So, what if it was just us and the actors, and there's no other crew? I had been thinking about this for a long time and thinking like that's pretty nerve-wracking, because the whole point of having a crew is there's always somebody who can help you solve a problem, somebody who's thinking about these things. So you're getting rid of your safety net, but in doing so, you're completely free. And you can go anywhere in the room, and you can just keep working. You can give little signals to people. So yeah, that was the biggest rule that we broke, and it's terrifying, but both incredibly freeing.
Is that because you're a student of the game, and you know how to make a movie from sweeping the floors to running the camera to being overall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I will admit, I'm not much of a lighter. I don't know how to light things. So I needed Nick Sadler to kind of help me. And I also, I don't want to be responsible for audio. So we did have two guys hidden in another room that were sort of monitoring the microphones. And I really relied on them. But yeah, everything else, because I'd worked on huge movies like Pirates of the Caribbean as a designer and a storyboard artist, but I had also done, like you're saying, sweeping the floors and cleaning the bathroom before the actors come. When you know it from the ground up, you can then sort of pick and choose what parts from the high end and what parts from the lowest end to fit your needs.
That's kind of how I roll. Like I'm the CEO of a company here and trying to get this podcast network going, and I've got a long history, but I was like, you know what? Coco will tell you, I will clean the floors. I'll be at the bottom, and I'll try to build something up because I love creating. And I wanted to know every aspect of what goes into what happens behind the scenes. What is it that I can give a viewer an experience with?
Yeah.
And you did that with Coherence. That's I got chills every time I watch it,
I was talking to a Silicon Valley tech guy, a guy that built this huge company there, and he sort of described what we did as it relates to how he's seen. There's two different models in tech. One is called the waterfall version, where you throw everything at it. You have all this support, and you design an app or whatever with every possible variation or every possible need. And so you've got just like top down, you've got all the best experts, and you're trying to create this giant perfect thing. But then there's the other version, which is called the agile version of development, which is you just do the barest bones version of it so that it functions, and then you let it sort of organically grow and show you what you need after that. And so this was very much the agility version, where I was like, all I really need to make a movie is a picture and sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's technically all you need. And then I was like, well, okay. And also I'll have some actors,
Yeah.
And then, but I don't necessarily,
people.
I don't necessarily need a costume department, don't necessarily need an art department, don't necessarily need special effects. And so I only added things that I needed to it. And that kept it incredibly, incredibly small and agile.
I can tell you right now, I worked at Apple Music producing for them. We used the agile. We were told to use the agility method, and it was the most creative freedom I really felt. It was like,
okay. So you've heard this term before?
I have. I worked for Apple Music. I produced a show for George Strombolopoulos, Canadian guy. He was on Much TV or something up in Canada. Much Music, yeah. He was the host of that, and I produced his show, and this is what we lived by, was and without really saying it, but it was the agile or agility technique to do what we want to do and then let it grow and see where it goes. And we were building a community off of that, and we were building everything off of that. And I did feel more at peace, maybe. It was like, it makes you feel more like somebody trusts you actually to kind of regulate yourself. And a true creative can do that. I think we can do that. So.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, because you are doing it.
Thank you.
That's kind of incredible. From my perspective, to hear this come from in art. And I'm an art teacher, an artist, and sometimes I'll just throw that kind of thing at my students where I'm like, we're going to use 2 colors and create an entire painting out of it. And I challenge them to do it. And that's kind of what it sounds like. Just, it's restrictive and yet so freeing. Incredible to think about that.
Exactly. Sometimes the restrictions really force you to come up with the most creative solutions, and it's a joy. And sometimes having too many tools is just kind of, paralyzing if you don't actually need it all. You're trying to justify it all.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely. Not without the appreciation and gratitude for all of the other colors that were put into to make movies, but just this is the basic what you need, right?
All great when you need it, yeah. And when I worked on Pirates of the Caribbean, man, I mean, everybody was top of their game, and it was wonderful being around a crew of such experts.
Well, I want to talk about coming to how art, movies emulate nature and human nature and life. This is my realm. This is where I come from, and emotional healing and things like that. And like I said, I'm a little bit of a mess. Okay, so all jokes aside, I have crystals and all the things. Okay. But I have to say, the thing that came to my mind the most when watching this movie and the humanness of it and the characters' interaction with each other was where the theme of regret keeps coming back over and over again in like M's choices in her life and whether she made the right choice or not. And it made me think of a novel I really love. I don't know if you've read it, The Midnight Library. It's kind of a similar idea. If you haven't, you probably would love it because it's the same idea presented completely differently. But this one character's ability to be able to experience life in many different realities. Like if I'd made one choice different, she's allowed to go live that life for a little while or step into it and see what it would have been like.
Right.
And it feels kind of like that's an underlying theme, or at least that's what I gathered from it. So would you talk a little bit about how that came to be a part of
For sure. It felt like that was a universal aspect to this kind of story, is that every conscious person at one point in their life is probably going to think, well, what if I would have made that choice different? Or how insanely lucky it was that I was at that moment when I met my spouse, or, this certain set of circumstances happened. And what if it would have just been 1 degree different? My life would have been completely different. And you look back at your life and realize that like all of these key moments could have easily gone a different way and changed everything, changed for the entire world, really. And so that was the key that, for me, allowed me to ground this tiny, tiny story in something that felt, relevant and universal and that people could relate to. And M's regret, I just, it's easy as an artist to very quickly think of things that might be, a pivotal moment in my life or somebody else's life. And so that story with her missing out on her own creation just felt like it's something that almost everybody could relate to. Just like you could have done a little bit differently. It's something your pride got in the way of or whatever, but then realized like that was the moment that could have made the difference. I hear people talk about, why did I sell Apple stock, in 1984 or whatever. Like everybody,
or not my Bitcoin when it was,
everybody has something like that. And so it just felt like that was the core of her story, and as the hero, that it could frame the whole night and make her choose some things by the end that she wouldn't normally choose because they're just like piling up on her.
Yeah. And they all feel like little clues throughout the whole thing to where this decision she's making with Kevin to go to Vietnam with him, or to, it feels like it just keeps track of all of that humanness, that I'm frozen in decision because I've made mistakes before, and all the way through to the very end when she's basically stepping into or choosing someone else's life that was not actually hers.
Yeah. She's basically kind of understudying her own life. She's stepping in to take over the role of herself.
She does exactly what she says they say in the dinner scene earlier, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
She's doing that.
Taking over a role that she created.
Yeah, at a certain point, though, the characters, the actors, they stopped reacting, right? And they did start choosing is there a specific moment where they cross the line they can't come back from to you? Is there something in there?
Yeah, I mean, the two active people are Mike and M, and Mike is active in a negative way because he's an alcoholic and he's got guilt of things that he hasn't, shared with his friend, and so he's the destructive aspect of being active because he's going to like blackmail himself and but that's, he's making active choices. Whereas M kind of becomes active when she realizes, wait a minute. Like all of the clues we need, if we're trying to figure out what's going on in that house, everything we need is in this house. And she starts to become sort of the investigator, Nancy Drew mystery solver of it. And so that's about halfway through the movie where she becomes more active like that. And then she gets a little more information than the others because she's, she has this experience outside with the other Kevin, and sort of she's sort of seen firsthand what it's like to interact. So she becomes further along in understanding of what's going on than the others. She kind of puts together, when she's looking through the notebook and the numbers, she's piecing it together before everyone else, which spurs her to action.
Is she doing that in real time on set also? Is Emily Baldoni, right? That's her given name.
Emily Baldoni, Justin Baldoni's wife, yes.
Yeah, which is crazy. That's crazy in its own. But is she the one who figured it out first?
She did. Actually, Emily started figuring it out too early, and so I had to rein her in. She started figuring things out several hours before she was supposed to, and I had to go like, whoa. You can't put that together yet. We're going to save that. So I didn't tell her why. Yeah, I didn't tell her how. And at that point, she still didn't know that she was the lead in the movie. She didn't know, she just thought she was part of an ensemble. Oh. So yeah, I didn't want to give it away, but I was like, slow down. You're actually figuring out too much too quickly.
That's wild. But I could see that. I could really see that. That's wild. This is the whole experience to me. Is wild. Courtney, go ahead.
I'm just sitting here like, whoa. I mean, she's kind of my hero right now, a little bit, because I don't know if I'd be that clever, but good for her for sitting there and figuring it out. Like, you're ruining the movie. Don't figure it out too early. I love that.
Well, that's the thing is you get surprised by how seriously the actors take what you're giving them, and you don't realize in their minds, they're like really processing this, and they're like, trying to jump ahead, and they're trying to figure it out. And so I had to jump in and just be like, okay, whoa. Like, I know you're smart, but you gotta, there's a whole plan here.
You're like, you're not supposed to be that smart. Wait a minute. we thought we were the smart ones. You and Alex Manoogian, is that how you pronounce his last name? Yeah. Manoogian. He's the writer too, right? And then you helped adapt this into the how to direct it. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I came up with the idea, but Alex is always a great collaborator. He's a sounding board, and so I would sort of pitch him these ideas, and he would help me expand on them. And he was really the one who just kept encouraging me to keep going. Like, I told him this idea, like, what if you looked out the window and saw yourself? And he was just a real champion for that idea. It's like, you need to keep going on that. You need to press the gas on that idea.
Absolutely. That's one of those ideas I would have heard and been like, I think you got something there, brother. Like, I think you really got something. You need to run with that. Pick up the ball and run,
And this was before the sort of multiverse thing became so popular. Like, when we came up with it, it did not seem like a crowded field yet. There was a couple Twilight Zones and things like that deal with it, but it felt like a really sort of inviting space. And Alex was key. Every time I'd have a new idea, I'd be like, what do you think about this? What do you think what if it's not just two houses? What if it's like infinite? And he was like, yeah, I think we need to do that.
I think what always stuck with me from Coherence is you didn't really lead with like dread. The entire thing was curiosity. And I think hearing you speak about it, it was even that behind the scenes too, with the actors playing the characters. It's all curiosity. For the viewer at home, it's curiosity. It's what if, Marvel did the show. What if? Like, we're seeing, like you said.
I'm glad you noticed that, because that was a big change, to be honest. The very first month that I was thinking of this idea, I was thinking of it more like a horror movie. More like there was dread, and they like, what if you found a body outside, but then you went inside and that guy's alive? Like, I thought it would be more that kind of movie. Like, there's, bodies, a body count, and the confusion that would ensue. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, let's just back up. Like, what would you actually do if you started getting clues about this? And it was all about the curiosity of it. It'd be like, well, we would try to just figure it out, like just slowly ask questions. And then somebody would say, let's go over there. And you'd be like, okay, why not? Like, let's go over there. It's not like they have an axe, it's not like there's an axe murderer out there. Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
I told just Blane before we were recording, I said, if I was a character in this scenario, I think it'd be over really quickly, because I would be like, we're all staying inside. We're all hunkering down. Nobody's going anywhere. Cut to credits. That would be the end. Because I would be like, no.
But someone at that party would convince someone else, be like, no, let's go check it out. You're saying there's a house down the street that's interesting. Let's just go look at it. Like, somebody would. Yeah. Maybe not you, but somebody would.
And that's the curiosity kicking in, because you're right. Somebody in there is going to say, and it's the peer pressure too. Somebody's going to feel like, all right. They even do it when they all go outside. Some of them don't want to, but they're like, oh, okay, whatever. We'll go look at the comment. The comment, by the way, awesome. That thing, I don't know how you did that. I don't know if we ever want to know if that was a secret. I would love to know, but
you want to know? I'll tell you.
Tell us, man. I want to know.
Come on.
So we assumed we were going to have to do one special effects shot, and we're like, oh, we're going to have to pay all this money to do a cool comment, and it also supposed to break up at the end. But meanwhile, I went on YouTube just looking for anything that looked like that to kind of slug in to the edit, so there's something in there. And along the way, I found this really grainy picture video shot of a satellite breaking up in the atmosphere. And it was a Japanese satellite called the Hayabusa satellite, which had visited an asteroid and come back to Earth, but then broke up in the atmosphere. And it's that shot. And it was beautiful. And I kind of put it in thinking, it's too bad this is so grainy and terrible, because it's perfect. And so I went on this mission to track down who shot that. And that led me to talk to all these astronomers, and like the world famous astronomer that had like tracked asteroids, and one of the few people that tracked it in the sky and then actually found it on the Earth. And this guy was like, okay, call SETI. You have to call SETI, and you have to call, because they'll know who shot it. Finally got to the guy who's an astronomer, and I said, is there any chance you have a better quality than that terrible YouTube? And he said, well, I shot it on this camera called the Red. Is that any good? That's like a high definition, grandfather. And he let us use it for free.
No way.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, that was worth the story for sure.
Well, at the end, we credit him for that footage in the credits. Yeah,
I love it.
Well, speaking of when they go out to see the comet the very first time, when everybody leaves the house, there's some speculation, and you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. If you're like, this is left up to the audience to figure out. Yeah. But we were kind of debating whether or not that first exit of the house everyone does and then comes back was in fact them coming back to the original house, or was it then that the very beginning of a second house, because there was a broken glass. And so there was some like
clue that maybe that's not exactly what they left. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The idea is toward the beginning of the night, if there are differences between the houses, they're going to be so small that you don't really notice. No. So if they would have done exactly that move when another house did it, and they end up in, they've all switched houses, you're not even going to know, because they're so similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know how many people out there have tried to put this together? Have you ever seen the graphs? And I think Coco mentioned a 26-minute YouTube video somebody put together, and they're
illustrated. It's an illustrated explanation. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen all of them, but I get sent, someone will text me or give me a link, and I'll watch them because they're so fun.
Did you have anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was very simple not simple, but just because we started with a concept there was only going to be 2 houses. But then we started expanding, going, what if there's not? What if anytime you go a certain distance from the house, you're just in another house? And there was a moment where Alex and I were like, wait a minute. That means Hugh and Amir never came back. That means that first Hugh and Amir weren't Hugh and Amir. We're like, there's 5 Hugh and Amirs that were in this movie, minimum. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we definitely did a quick little sketch of okay, who's
one of those string theory type boards with everything connecting. That's what I'm picturing in my head.
Killer, yeah, how everyone's related.
The meme of, what is it, Charlie Day? Is it Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny? He's got yeah. Right.
Ours was more like on a napkin, but same idea.
Yeah.
Hey, some of the best ideas come up on napkins. It's true. Yeah, it's a Hollywood thing, right?
The whole goal was if the title is going to be Coherence, then that means the movie has to get incoherent at some point, and it has to just be like spaghetti. And so we kind of worked backwards from the spaghetti and said, all right, if there's a moment where they're all realized they're from different houses, how did that happen? When did everybody, switch?
Oh, wow.
As an audience, as a viewer, we're unsettled the entire time watching this movie, and we don't really know why, and then we start trying to think why. And as a filmmaker, though, you kind of experience fear differently. What moment in this movie scared you as a filmmaker?
The moment that scared me the most was giving conflicting directives to 2 different actors and worried about what is gonna ensue, because I told Maury Sterling, who plays Kevin, I said, okay, at this point, you're going to leave the house. You're going to want to go check out what's going on out there. And then unbeknownst to him, I told Emily Baldoni, don't let him leave the house.
Oh.
And I was so nervous because as a director, you want your actors to utterly trust you and know that what you're telling them is correct. And I was holding the camera going, what is going to happen now? Because Maury thinks he's leaving. And Emily, I said, you absolutely do not let him leave.
Cannot leave.
And if you watch it, she literally body checks him at a point in the door. She's very tall. Emily's an Amazon. And so she kind of towers over Maury. And she actually used her physical frame to send him a signal in the moment. No, you're not getting through, Maury, And I'm just trying to hold the camera going. And then I remember going up to him afterwards, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to know. But yes, I set you up for that.
Well, that made that scene absolutely, that's sticking in my mind. Just the look on her face as they have this little standoff moment where she's like, you are not you couldn't have created that any other way. That was incredible.
It was so great because it's all real. She's literally blocking him, and he's trying to get through her, and he's irritated because in his mind he's going, no, Jim told me to go out the door. I was told by the director that this is happening, and I don't understand why you are blocking my directive. And you can see when he gives up and he sort of takes off his scarf or his coat or whatever. He's just like, what the hell?
That's real then.
Yeah.
Now, how long was there an actual standoff? How long of this, what was edited out? How long between
I think you probably see the whole thing there. That was in real time. Yeah.
Man, I love those raw reactions.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ending. Do you think the ending of the movie is a victory, or did we just get the least broken outcome?
Well, I think of it as kind of positive for me because nobody died, and she's like, I guess I'm just free to live my life now.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if she just absorbed the other Emily, and that was just when she woke up and didn't see her anywhere, I thought, she just kind of they just converged, and then that's it. They get to live from then on. But that's
what she's hoping, and then no, that's it doesn't get away.
Now you know how big I've said I am of a fan of this movie. I can't get enough of it, man. Emily, when she's going through, she sees some of these other houses, and there's some wild shit going on, right? Like, there's craziness going on. Are we ever going to see the other side of those? Are you going to give us the Coherence verse, a sequel?
Oh, well, we are working on a sequel. Yes, we are working on another Coherence story. We're trying to get it off the ground. The producer, Kate Andrews, came to me with a very interesting idea for a Coherence sequel. And so, yeah, we're just kind of trying to find a cast, trying to find money. But we've got a great idea for it that I love. Alex is involved. And yeah, we would love to bring that to the world.
I'm shaking right now. Like, hey, you know what I said about sweeping floors? Me and Coco will come sweep the floors on that set just to be around that. I seriously would.
Count me in.
That would, like, I would, man, I'm serious. Like, that was, just hearing that, I can't believe that I'm at least going to get the experience to watch that. But if we could be there in some way, that would be incredible.
Oh.
Do you have anything from the Coherence movie? Did you keep anything?
Yeah, I've got the book that Hugh got from the car, the Gravitation or whatever. That's a real book.
Yeah.
And then I have the little vase that they got from Galaxy thrift store that Emily noticed. You're having the same conversation that you had in the other
earlier. Yeah.
So two major clues. Yeah. I love the prop. Not a big prop movie, but it had a lot of like little game pieces, we like to call them, with the glow sticks.
You know what? I'll toss my head in there for more than the broom and sweeping up the floors for you. How about, I know movies have continuity directors. Could you add a role for me to be the non-continuity director? And I could just place the stuff in the background.
Moving things around? Yeah.
just a tiny amount. Just the smallest amount. So people are like, wait, did that?
That's a great idea. Guy. That's a great. So every shot was just a little bit wrong. I like it. Yeah.
$1 contract. I would do that and be there. That would be incredible. I think that'd be fun. Yeah. Going back to the actors and Coherence, improvisation. We already talked about that. But like, when did improvisation? When was there something that it revealed that the script? There's no way a script could have.
Oh, all the time, honestly. From the very beginning, the way the actors would interact with each other and sort of throw in little dumb jokes and little bits, it just really brought it to life. Because the thing about a script, especially when there's more than two people in a scene, is they don't really reflect real dialogue patterns, because mostly when you have more than a few people together talking on top of each other. I love the show Lost, but when they'd have these group scenes, only one person would talk at a time. And I was like, well, it's not how people talk. Like, everyone would be talking. And so I really wanted to get a much more natural flow of dialogue. And so that's what they brought. They just brought this incredibly naturalistic dialogue to it that really brought it completely alive. And there's no way you could have written that, because it can only be triggered by what someone is hearing in the moment and overhearing from someone else. This twist and turns of it. And really the improv is completely responsible for making that stuff sparkle.
So fun.
Very natural.
When people got confused on this set and they wanted the answers or whatever, was it hard for you to protect the confusion? And like, did you want to tell them, but you were like, oh, soon.
I think after the first night, they realized that they were in for a fun house. It was going to be just a adventure chosen for them. So they mostly relaxed, but definitely there were moments where they got surprised. I remember Alex when Amir and Hugh leave the first time and they come back, Alex surprised Hugo by saying just 5 seconds before they went in, just said, just so you know, we're about to go in the door. We're not the same people that left. Go. And Hugo was like, whoa. And then he had to enter the house and kind of scramble his mind. But
because Alex knows, Alex plays Amir, and he helped write this. So he's kind of doing his own directing in his own way on set, right? He has to steer
he knew everything that was going to happen, and he would sometimes help lead, if not direct it, but he'd sort of steer the conversation toward what it needed to be, or say, hey, Kevin, you give a toast now, because he knew somebody needed to tell a story or do a toast. So he was a little mole inside the group that was helping to make sure it went down the right way. And they all knew that. They knew that Alex was part of it.
I watched it again with that knowledge just to see if I saw it differently after finding that out. And I can't tell at all that he was leading or directing it. So, I mean, that was the case, but that was really well hidden too, in that he just seemed like another character like everybody else, just like another actor and character participating in this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing little subtle things that you don't know. They sound normal, but you can tell he's actually guiding it by saying, just little things like when someone's saying, should we go to that other house? And he's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's fine. It'll take 5 minutes. Like he's the one that knew to sort of calm it down a little bit. He knew what the emotional level should be,
Oh, wow.
Now, this movie's at the top of my list. It is. But if there was a list for movies you've seen and you want other people to see, but please don't watch a trailer, please don't read anything, just go watch it, this is the one. Like everybody I know, I'm like, go watch Coherence. Don't look it up. Don't read about it. Just go watch it.
Yeah.
Which I did with Coco. We actually started talking about this. We were talking about movies with the dinner scenes, and we were going through a bunch of them. And I said, you know what? I got one I bet you haven't seen. And I brought up Coherence, and as Kismet would have it, that's when I was like, you know what? Let me reach out to Jim and just see. And you emailed me back, we're here, and I felt like that was a Coherence moment to me. It was like, what reality am I in? But it's incredible to be such a fan of this. I said it earlier, like you gave an experience, not just, a movie. Like, sure, go watch it. No, I come back to this all the time. And you said it too. It makes you think about those little moments in between, the gaps that you got to fill. You had me thinking How I Met My Wife. We met in LA, living in Hollywood on Tinder within a 1 mile radius. She's not from there, and I'm sure as hell not from Hollywood with this accent. So that was incredible to me because every single thing had to line up for 36 years.
Yeah.
To get to that point when we met. That's what this movie, to me, it says a lot. And it makes you start thinking about life, your own life, Like,
well,
I
it's
love
great
it.
to hear you say that because that was exactly our intention, and that's why I'm happy to come on the show and talk about it. It's very easy to talk about just because it's all good memories. So I really appreciate you reaching out. Yeah, thank you.
Some people hate this movie. And first of all, they should be institutionalized. Like, seriously, they don't like this movie. But they do, but I think it is because they don't get the answers. You're not going to get the answers. You may get a different answer every time you watch it. I caught a new thing I watched it last night. I've probably watched it. I've done like 2-3 viewings this week. That's about what I do. And I put it on different times, watch it in different modes. But I caught a new one. And it was the ketamine. When Lee takes it, in real time, she wakes up about the time ketamine would wear off. I don't know if anybody ever picked that out.
Nice.
So if there was a ketamine expert on set, I'm not sure. Myself and Coco, we've taken part in group ketamine sessions, all legal and all that. And I can tell you, this movie didn't happen to us. Like, we were knocked out and gone, So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it happens in real time. Different. I timed it out. And I'm like, wait a minute. She would have woke up from that nap about then from when she did it. So
I love that. I've never heard that before, but I love that. We were just guessing, so that's great.
It's about time for her to come up. Yeah.
I got one more big thing for you.
Okay.
So I got 2 kids, and just yesterday, my wife said, what do you want to be? And my 3-year-old says, I want to be a 6'7" doctor. I don't know what that is. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. You'll get something. Maybe there will be that in the future. My 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old says, I want to make movies. And this was the first time I heard it, and it touched my heart. And I knew I was going to be talking to you today. Give him a message that you can say right now. He's not going to get it now. He's not going to know what it is. But I want him somewhere down the road to see it and keep him going to make whatever he's doing.
Okay. Riker, I hope you're still interested in making movies, because you can make movies. All the technology exists that it's right in your hand and in your power to actually make movies. And for me, the key would be to experience life and experience living and experience what it's like on planet Earth, and put yourself in other people's shoes so that you can empathize with other people, so that you can actually make a movie that means something and that is beyond just blowing things up, which is fine. But that's what I would encourage you to do is use your passion for movie making to become a passion for living life on planet Earth.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's kind of me, you know. Grew up on a farm in the South and was like, you know what? This ain't for me. I want to see the world. I want to see what other people live like. And I've said this. I've said, everybody out there, I don't care where you live, where you grew up, where whatever, you should be forced to live in New York or LA for about a year and realize it's not the bubble you came from, and that we all are one. Like, you've got to be one. You've got to have empathy for people. We've lost that somewhere along the way, and it angers me, man. It angers me when we can't have real human emotions and stuff. And yeah, I think this movie really did. It showed it. It gave us that. And that's why I connect to it so well. It's because, you know what? I feel like I know these people. We talked about Cheers. Me and Courtney just did one on Cheers, and we know the people. Everybody knows your name. We interviewed John Ratzenberger.
Oh,
you know?
Nice. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
Human experiences, right?
Yeah. We work with an organization called Promise to Live also, and that's how we get to talk to a lot of these organizations. It's a suicide prevention awareness. We get them to give messages of hope. If you had a message of hope for somebody out there who needs to hear something, give that too.
I just know from my own experience that that there are a lot of positive things in the world if you can find them and sort of navigate past the darkness. And that's why I got to do what I do, because otherwise I would be lost in the darkness as well. So I just try to concentrate on the threads of positivity. And in my case, it's knowing some great people and being creative, because creative, like love, is a resource that can never run out. And so there's nothing that can diminish love. There's nothing that can diminish creativity. Can't use it up ever.
Was it Interstellar that said love crosses all dimensions? Do you think that's the same?
Yeah, probably.
Do you think creativity crosses all dimensions too? Like, coherence here?
That's my personal take. Yeah, I don't.
I do for sure.
Mine as well.
Yeah,
Courtney,
in the work that I do with.
Yeah,
I'll finish up with my final thought, because it goes perfect with what you just said. And I'm so excited that you said what you said, because I work in a world of energy healing with people. I work with their alternate selves and versions of themselves, past versions of themselves in their healing work. And I think that this movie, while being a science fiction, obviously there's a lot of like quantum physics and alternate realities and things that we're playing with in this movie, but there's also the symbolic idea of us being different versions of ourselves. And I think that boils down so perfectly in just one line when Mike says, "What if we're the dark version?" Right. And that is the crux of my work. What I do with people is, there's so many versions of you, and every version deserves love. Every version deserves compassion. And I think creativity is just everyone's an artist showing up in whatever work they do, and being a person who has empathy or comes at life experiencing things the way you do. You're just feeding your brain with the images you need to create more art, to create more of that into the world. So that was kind of like where I came around to it, was, you know, Emily that ends up maybe bashing other Emily over the head with with the top of a toilet. Maybe that's not her best version of herself in that moment, but it's also a part of her that deserves love, and that part that deserves compassion and deserves to have her hopes and dreams seen at the end of this. So that's what I got out of it, whether that was your intention or not.
No, it's great. That's exactly, we're hoping that people would, care enough to even have an interpretation like that. So thank you so much.
That toilet seat scene, man, to be not a horror movie and all, that was a violent.
Yeah, a little bit there.
Violent head bash. Right? Yeah. I just saw Ryan Gosling do that, and I think the new Running Man, he did it, and I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. Oh yeah, and I saw Emily do it Coherence, and I'm like, wait, there's a crazy connection.
Right.
This movie's terrifying to me because of what Mike says right there, and I start thinking, is there any version of me I would want to fight?
Right.
Is there any, that's my thought, and I'm like, no, probably not. But
let me leave you with this thought, because I do have to go in a second. But when I was testing this movie on friends, before we put it in theaters or anything, I would just have 5 or 10 people over at my house and show them the movie and be like, what do you think? Is it just a YouTube video, or does it feel like a movie? And they're like, no, it feels like a movie. And I was very nervous about what Emily does to herself at the end. Is that too much? Is that unbelievable? And one guy sort of clarified it for me, and I'll never forget him explaining why he really resonated with it. He said, no, I totally get it. I love that part. He said, I would never consider doing violence against another person, ever. But I would do it to myself.
Exactly.
And I just went, whoa, that's the whole thing, is how brutal people are to themselves.
Oh,
but that's what he kind of crystallized. It's like, I'm never going to hurt another person, but I would me.
That's exactly how I feel. I want any of them people on the other side, unless they attacked me, I'm not going to, but I'm plotting against myself. Every version of me, I'm plotting against them because I probably assume that they're doing the same damn thing. Yeah.
Right. So
and that's an incredible feeling.
That's what it all comes down to. It's can we stop being so awful to ourselves so that we can, open up to everyone else? I don't know.
Well, man, when Coherence 2 comes out and you have one of those friend screenings, at least get us in on that. If I'm not your uncontinuity director or whatever.
Please, me.
I'm serious.
Thank you very much.
It's a high respect is what it is. It's not me begging. It's literally wanting to be a part of that that atmosphere, that feeling, because you can't sell that and you can't buy it.
That is very meaningful to hear, and I'll tell everybody involved about this, and I'll
my life is made. I really did just think, hey, I love this movie. Let me reach out to him and see if he'll come on and talk to us. It was just a, shot in the dark. And I love how Kismet hit and he got back to me within 10 minutes. I'd love to come talk about this project. And it was insane how that kind of all worked out. There's probably a parallel universe that it didn't work out. There might be one that it works out even more, and we do end up on this set of Coherence 2. I got a little desperate there. I have to say, I was begging. Was I begging, or was it?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I mean, at least we weren't asking to act in the movie, which is what I would love to do. Is give me an opportunity to try that hat on for size. But we weren't asking for that. We're just let us be there. Let us be around. Let us see this process being made. I'm just excited we got that announcement, that Coherence 2 or whatever that's going to look like. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. I can't wait. Now you got me thinking, though, us being actors in there. If he has a podcast, if he needs a couple of podcast hosts for some reason in there.
We could do a cameo.
Oh, we could man. Could you imagine a Coherence 2 cameo from Just Blane and Coco? Woo! Nobody else would give a crap but us, but hey. But thank you once again to James Ward Byrkit, director of Coherence. Incredible, deep conversation. That's what we're here to do. We are really here to talk about these movies with people, with the directors themselves, and let them talk and let them give the answers and not try to interrupt. And I don't think we did too much of that. Like, we didn't interrupt what he was saying. And this is what we plan to do here with everything that we do. We want people to feel like they're in here with us. Feel like you're in the room, on the couch, in the car with us, wherever. And if you want to continue doing that, at Parallel Frequencies Daily, please follow us. We promise, that'll be our promise to you, that we continue to at least try to give you content like the interview with Jim. And that's what we're going to do going forward. We can't do it without you. Just hit that subscribe button. That's all you got to do. Until next time, Just Blane and Coco, Parallel Frequencies. We'll see you